Welcome guys, Brandon here from Terminated Gaming, and once again we're back on Transport Fever 2, again with our Brandenburg build, the Brandenburg region, with Brandenburg being the capital. I know it's kind of a odd name for a region, but you know. I will throw the caveat again. I know I sound like a broken record with this. I record a lot of these before they come out. And often I'll record them so far in advance that I also get a couple weeks since when I actually recorded this. So we're going to see a lot of things that I don't quite remember doing, and it's a lot harder for me on my editing window to kind of see it compared to what the final product will be. But of course, it's going to be like the same old as always. Like we're doing like the same stuff that we always do. And I know I talked about it in the last episode. This episode, what we're trying to do is we're going to do a lot of pruning. The pruning, I put that in quotes. I did the air quotes with my fingers, but you can't see that. The pruning that we do in all the other episodes of trying to make the city grow the way we'd like it to do, or like it to grow, which means I want to try to get the commercial to not form in a coherent district like the industrial or the residential. I wanted it to just form along all the major roads wherever the bus stations are, where the truck stations are, so that way the pollution is affecting just them and not the rest of the residential, which gets the most effect from the pollution. Of course, still Brandenburg is our only city spawned on this map. Maybe next episode. Next episode hasn't been pre-recorded yet, so maybe for next episode I might actually start getting work done on some of the next cities. But the thing is I wanted to make sure we focused more effort onto small little regions first before we did anything else, which was the problem in the previous. Why I restarted is we grew out so many different cities instead of just focusing on the one, getting everything else, all like the infrastructure done for the one city. Granted, we'll see how that goes, because the goods needs of Brandenburg aren't going to be always 100% met. It's kind of, I almost hesitate to say it's impossible in the game to get 100% goods to market, and I know some of the industrial sectors will have to be expanded, like this one here. I think both the steel and the lumber mill are at full capacity, so I think what will happen is we'll have an extra set of trains coming from across the river with like 2 dual cities on both sides there that all meet and converge at that station to that port, sending goods to Brandenburg. So on the other side will be a mirror of whatever city that is. So we'll have like so-and-so city named north and so-and-so city named south. And that will create it'll probably be a bottleneck with the ships then at that point, because I'm not using trains. I mean, if I used trains, it would have made a lot of sense, wouldn't it? You know, because we have that passenger train that meets up with the main line towards Brandenburg. So I don't know. We'll see how that works. I think we're actually, I'm starting to decide that where the city's going to go. So this industry, like the lumber mills and the mines there, are going to be separate from the tracks here. Or separate from the actual city. So it's going to be like on the outskirts, which makes sense, because you're not going to have a mine in your downtown. At least I don't think so. It'd be kind of weird. So this is going to be a dual-sided station, like the city's going to be on both sides of that station, kind of like how I built it in Brandenburg, even though that's not the center of Brandenburg. And what will actually happen is it's only going to have the 2 stations there, so it's going to have like technically 2 service points, because it'll have a quick route to the north. And I don't know why I did. I think I did 4 tracks because it spawned in nice. In all honesty, I should have did 3 tracks and just had it branch off onto the main line, and then the other one be like just the bypasses for the main line. If that makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain. So basically you have the 3 tracks. You have the one will be the station for the local train, and then you'll have the main line bypass, but it still is within the station, if that makes more sense that way, hopefully. And then that central. Actually, now that I think about it, it would be even better if that, but you can't do it in the game. Like, have that center line would be the main, but it'd be very difficult to do. I'd have to redo a lot of stuff if I wanted to try to do that. But it makes more sense now that I think about it. Granted, it'd be a little bit more difficult with the bypasses. I don't know. The mainline idea I thought worked really well, but it's also a little bit more difficult because you can't. At least my mind is struggling to think in the way I guess if you did this as like a career, like, transportation, it might be easier for you to think in terms of these large, the large scale transportation needs. So like how these main lines would form. So I don't know. Maybe not. Here I'm just looking at the different ship types because I'm just like, oh hey, what ships would be good for this line? And because last episode we experimented with that giant cargo ship that was just way too ridiculously large for this game. You'd have to have a way larger dock, and I think the regions would have to be longer or larger. I mean, you can do the length one, so it's like 1x3, extremely large. So like your distances would be suitable for, like in the old game, in Transport Fever 1, we had the Concorde plane, and your regions were small, and the Concorde couldn't get up to full speed very often, unless you had the long region and it was going across the map. I mean, but what's the point in doing that when you can have localized hubs? And then I think it's I follow a lot of the traditional airliner mentality there, because all the traditional airlines like United have their hub, and United was the only one I can think off the top of my head. Delta has probably a hub. UPS has a hub. FedEx has a hub, and they just send all their goods to one goods or passengers to one spot, and then they try to branch off from there. I think United's hub's O'Hare International, is it not, in Chicago? And like UPS's is in either Kentucky or Tennessee, like right there. I think UPS's is in Memphis, right? Or is that FedEx? I don't remember. And then you got like Amazon, who doesn't necessarily do the hub and spoke model, which, good for Amazon, I guess. Another problem we're having here is trying to figure out how to get these goods to leave on the trucks and all that kind of stuff. And once again, too, is like some of our trucks and all that stuff is being not utilized right now because goods aren't coming in from a specific direction. So there's that too. Yeah, so like I was saying earlier, is we were going to try to do that city on both sides of the river back over there. And, it'd be two separate cities because it would just make it easier. I don't think that it would very easily expand across the water. And basically, it'll be a mirror. It'll have a lumber and a steel mill, but it'll also have a train that runs grain across. But granted, now the more I think about it, that grain industry in that city up north, kind of not needed. We could probably move that to a different area. So that way, these are just your two specialized into just needing the steel cars, like the whatever they're called, stake cars. There you go. Those are the cars that can haul the lumber and the steel. Granted, I think it'll be a little bit more challenging that way because that train will run really short route. So almost as if I should just say bypass that route, and we could still, it's a lot of like, how do we want to do this? That's kind of the question. Because if I were to put a train station immediately across the river, they would have such a short distance, they would never need to turn around, so the bypass route doesn't make sense, and then the main rail concept doesn't work because it can never switch, it's too big. Unless, it had a shorter train, just quicker. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that would work. And, obviously, like, that airport, useless right now. There's no other places, no other destinations. Same with any passenger rail. They're all useless because there's no actual destinations. But apparently our commuters inside of the town are useful right now because, people want to move to different sections of the town, and, sometimes the little commuter routes are the fastest. The main thing is to make sure you have full coverage of all of these with the trams is what we're using here. And, and then this one now, compared to Transport Fever 1, we actually have the cargo planes. So I'm wondering, like, how useful is, like, once you get to this generation where you have those larger cargo planes, how useful is the cargo plane concept? Like, the planes are going to be obviously faster than the ships, and some of the planes can carry almost as much. So if I were to actually make a cargo terminal, would that be useful? Kind of like if I were to actually change that passenger terminal maybe over to a cargo terminal. And just still have Brandenburg be the hub, and it sends stuff out not only by ship, but by plane. You have a passenger and a cargo route. Granted, I don't think there's mixed planes, like with the cargo and passenger capacity. I'm not sure. I'll have to look again. Because some of them say all cargo types, but passengers aren't considered a cargo. So I don't know. Because, like, in the ships, it says all cargo types, and then it can have passenger and cargo. In the early game, you have the ones that can do both passenger and cargo. Which was really nice, because then you just have them dock twice. I really wish there was, like, a uniform, like, oh, hey, I like the single, like, just passenger or just cargo concept that the game does. But I really wish there was, like, oh, hey, this one you can just, it takes passengers and cargo in the same spot. Not separate. Granted, I guess it makes sense from the game perspective, because the game doesn't think, oh, hey, this is just, like, minor cargo. This is pretty large, heavy, industrial-grade cargo. So, you know, it's just an idea. I really wish some situations it's very useful to have the separated, and some is very kind of needed to have them together. Just because then you don't have to have the ship docked twice in the same port, which looks really dumb, but I guess I'm not sure. You don't see a lot of cargo passenger ships anymore. It's more of just cruise ships, and then or ferries, I guess, would be you have a car hauler, which also carries people across short distances. But planes, also, they're kind of also either cargo or passenger. I mean, passenger planes do carry luggage and some cargo, but not nearly as much as I think that could be useful if this game needed it. It'd also look really dumb if we had a plane that had to go to two separate hangars or terminals, one for passenger, and then it swung over to the cargo and then left. It'd look really dumb on the animation front, but I don't know. So we're starting to actually get these commercial sectors to grow the way we want them to. And then the industrial sectors, I'm trying to condense them down so that way we can actually have residential in some spaces. Because I want the industrial to stay all down by the port. Like, I don't want any of that going north past that main road. That's kind of where Brandenburg's name is on the going across. I don't want the industry to go north of that. I want that all to stay south. For the most part, I kind of want the residential to stay north, but we're going to have like a borough to the south, because the residential seems to be sprawling more outward than it is up at the moment. I mean, I say that, and there's a decent amount of high-rises right there in the center of the screen. But, and also something like that roundabout's really small, and it's like you can't really make a park, per se, and things are going to spawn there regardless, but it kind of looks dumb. But I can't put anything there to stop them from spawning. So, I know this game isn't supposed to be like City Skylines, but that's where I kind of wish it was a little bit more like City Skylines, where we could actually tell things from a stone. I think that'd be an awesome addition to the game. But anyways, the time lapse is coming close to an end. This one was a little shorter than the previous ones, but as always, I hope you guys have enjoyed. Check out the playlist above if this is your first episode. We have many more like it. And if you like the video, please leave a like down below, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.
Shut up and sit down.